Well, welcome back everybody. Mr. Scary Muffin here, and we are once again looking at map making tools. And again, I'll put up this template world for you guys to download to help you guys out. First off, let me apologize for the time it's taken for me to get to this video. It should have came out much sooner. Most of you guys probably have already done your lobby system, but this is the video for lobby systems. And shoutouts once again to Moj. Most of this system is his logic, and the redstoning tools used for these are from Traslander as well. First thing you'll notice is I've reduced the amount of glowstone in the area. Namely, the only things you need to put glowstone around are repeaters and torches. Everything else does not give light. So comparators does not give light, redstone dust does not give off light. And you really only need to have glowstone near the repeaters. You know, two or three blocks away is fine. So this one will cover those ones as well. By removing the amount of blocks in the area, you reduce the number of blocks that needs to be updated by the lighting as well. So that helps with the lag. It's one of those things I had to fix in my other maps as well. Anyways, we're looking at lobby systems. So what does that entail? We're talking about join spectator, leave team, join team A, join team B. So this was our temporary platform that we had for the lobby, and I'm just going to be using this temporary platform. The idea is you want to create a temporary lobby. You really don't know what you want out of your lobby in terms of tutorials, in terms of positioning and all that kind of stuff. You really don't know what you want out of your lobby until your map is finally done. So I encourage you not to worry about your lobby system until the map itself is done. Having something simple as this is good enough as it is. Now, I've got the join spectator and return lobby set up here, and I'll show you guys how these things work. So I got a pressure plate that's connected to this, and we've got our clock once again. Once that torch turns off, this clock will cycle. I've put it down to the full tick just so the timing of the commands firing are fine. This one will check for the closest player and force them to join spectator. If these areas are a little bit too close, what you could do, of course, is punch in the coordinates and use the coordinate setting here, put a player at this particular coordinate, and it will work because we're using pressure plates, and pressure plates are great for that. There's times to use pressure plates, times to use buttons, times to use levers in terms of your lobby, but we're going to be doing just the pressure plate for this one. So if I wanted to, I could use the coordinate over here. So that, we're looking at the numbers in the brackets are usually the ones you want to use. So 842 and 497 would be the numbers, and what I would do is I would punch them into the brackets here. So 842 497, and it will pull the closest person inside those areas. You don't need to give a radius. In fact, you shouldn't do a radius because we're looking for precision in terms of that. So that one, if I step onto this pressure plate, it will give me the spectator mode, which includes invisibility and creative mode. If I return to lobby, it will send me back and take away my invisibility as well as my creative mode. It also gave me a quick absorption just so that my health is set correctly. When you come out of creative mode, sometimes you need that. So these ones is showing you guys the first way that we can do wireless redstone. There are two good ways of doing wireless redstone, and with the 1.7 updates coming out, there will be different other ways as well. But we'll be looking at this one because this one affects the player. This is a way if you need to tag a player for handling, you can use this. And this is great because unless you are giving them unique items, which you can't do until 1.7, and when 1.7 comes out, you can use this to give them unique items. You don't have to teleport them anywhere else to throw dispensers and splash them and stuff like that. You can use this handling to manage them. So what this does is it will tag the player. It'll give them a join spec score of 1. It'll just set them to a 1. It's a binary, so it's a 1 or a 0. And when they get the 1, so when they get the join spec 1, so that's join lobby, so this is join spec 1. So once this detects that there is a player, anybody with it, in fact all bodies with it. The first thing that it will do is it will give it the handling. And what the handling code here is for, it's kind of like brackets, if you imagine. This is not really necessary. It's kind of a more precautionary thing, just to make sure that if a person gets the join spectator at the tail end of this, they won't suddenly miss out on the join spectator commands. So then basically only the people who got caught at the beginning of this cycle will get processed, and then the next people who gets caught in the beginning of the cycle will get processed. I hope that makes sense. Basically, it's possible for someone to gain the join spect when the repeater is like firing over here, for example, and then they'll miss out on all the stuff in the middle. So it's kind of like in math where you have the parentheses. You want the stuff in the parentheses to occur before the stuff outside the parentheses, and the handling codes are basically those parentheses. So we got the handling in the beginning, and then this one will check the join spec and the handling code and only affect those people. Clears all effects from them, clears all items from them just in case. Then it re-gives them all the stuff I want them to have. So creative mode, join the spectator team so spectators can see each other. I teleport them back to the middle of the lobby, that way they get off that pressure plate. They get off that pressure plate, and then anybody else who are stacked on top of that pressure plate will be able to get affected by it because there's a clock running on that pressure plate. Again, I give them absorption for a second so that they are picked up by our handy dandy check for health detector. So our health scores are staying correctly, sets their correct respawn point as well, and then it removes the join spectator before it removes the handling, just like that parenthesis working. That's basically that for the spectator. When they leave, so when they get the join lobby, it will force them to leave whatever team they are. So anybody who doesn't have a team is a lobby person, a lobbyist. It will teleport back to the lobby, give them the game mode, set their respawn to 1, and then get rid of that. I should probably put a handling on this one. This is one I kind of just decided that it goes fast enough that I don't really need to worry about it, just because there's a 1 second clock on the handling, and then this is a fast click anyways going through. If I want to be safe, I would put the handling in the beginning and a little bit more delay. But when they get that respawn handling, so this is a teamless player with respawn, and basically again I'm using full delay clocks, 1 second clocks, so that it takes its time before it does the next pickup. First gives them handling, of course, clears items, clears stuff, even though they are they get the respawn. Give them the saturation, give them weakness. This is for people in the lobby. I give them saturation so they can run around without losing hunger. I give them weakness so people don't punch each other, because I hate that. I give them the mining fatigue so they can't break things, because I also hate it when people are in the lobby doing that. Sets their respawn at the lobby, gives them absorption to update the health tracker, and then removes the tags on them. If a spectator for some reason dies, such as falling into the void or something like that, it will make sure that they get their, this is not actually the correct sign here, give handling. So it sets them the handling, and then gives them back the correct effects that they need because they just respawned after dying, teleport them back to the lobby, and then get rid of the handling stuff. So on the video, I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to build the, let's call it red team and blue team, just to be very stereotypical. I usually don't like using red team and blue team, but most people do. So we're going to go with red team and blue team. And the first thing we need to do is we need to add red team, blue team to our line of objectives and team stuff. So first thing, of course, we remove the non-existent objectives, and make sure we have that down, and we will put in our signs just so we have quick reference. And of course over here is where we add, and these are dummy objectives. add join red, dummy. Don't be a dummy. And of course, since we have this, we also need to put in the teams, so the teams themselves. So let's put in the remove team stuff just to actually, I want this underneath it. This is generally how I work on the maps as well. And again, these are not the end-all best practices, but they're pretty darn decent practices, and I do encourage you guys to follow good practices. It'll save you a lot of trouble in the end, trust me. It'll just save you a lot of headache and grief following these. This is stuff that I learned while working on my own maps as well. And again, for this video tutorial kind of process, I will be just simply I'll just simply be making a mini game. So we're gonna set the color for red team to be red. Surprise, surprise. And I'll just copy this one. And you don't have to be super descriptive with your signs. Anything that would just basically clue you in as quickly as to what the heck your command blocks are doing is fine. Sometimes I don't even write down the full command. Like if I want to do blue team is blue, that's fine, as long as I understand what's going on. But it also helps other people who are trying to learn off your map as well. So those are the objectives. We're going to add them, and just for the sake of it, we're just going to add them right now so that I don't have to run this process quickly through. Actually, I could probably just step on this. There you go. Get that setting going, and that will lock that up. And I'll reset this just so that other people can work on that. Alright, so that is that part set. Let's go over to here, and we're gonna put all the stuff on this one side here just so that things are easier, but I will space them out a bit. So we're gonna have the red team and the blue team, and we're gonna color code things a little bit. So this would be join red, and this will be join blue. Very simple signs. Normally you'll hide a lot of these redstone stuff anyways behind walls, what have you. So we're going to rebuild this clock here, and the clock will only run if somebody's standing on the pressure plate, and it'll continually run as long as there's somebody standing on the pressure plate, and it'll continually fire this command at the people on the pressure plate, which is what we want, so that anybody standing there will get processed, and because we teleport people away afterwards, they will always be a new person getting processed as long as they want to join the red team. We're going to use again the full clock here just to make sure the redstone timings all work out perfectly to each other. No, let's use this one here. I'm not going to bother making the precision thing for this. It should be close enough anyways. If you are having trouble with getting people to hit this correctly, try adding the correct coordinates as well. So that's all we need. So basically this will do nothing for me right now, simply because we don't have a join spec blue wireless command back at the spawn. But if I were to stand on this, let's just copy this again. If I were to stand on this, then you can see the clock. You can see the clock is running, and then basically it will just continually process people. So if you ever have problems with people camping this area, not letting other people join the team, or multiple people stepping on it and then other people have to step off and step back on, that kind of stuff, that's what you do. You use the clock so that people don't have to step on and off the same pressure plate, and then you, on the wireless side, you teleport them so that they can't camp. Oh, excuse me. Alright, so let's head back to the redstone handling stuff. And let's add in our processing things. Now, what used to do is we used to have a pre-game group and a post-game or an actual game group. So if you look at the coding stuff for Calamity, if you look at stuff early on for Adversity as well, you will have a pre-raw, pre-toth, a pre-strug, a pre-combine team, and then the actual team. And when the game starts, basically it shifts all the people from the pre-team to the actual team. No, I no longer do that. Instead, I tag people with a game start tag, and they just carry that tag with them the entire game. And the reason for doing so is namely for auto-ref and bucket stuff, so the game can be translated easily, because they usually only handle 3 teams: Spectator, Team A, and Team B. So we're going to keep with that and only have 2 teams. We'll do the ready-up handling stuff another time on a future episode. This is just lobby handling for now. So this one checks to see if anybody. Test for join red 1, and if there is somebody, we're gonna do things to them. Yar. So and we can basically follow what we did for the Spectator. Just use that as a kind of a guide on what we want to do. First we'll have the clock running. That way, if other people have the join spectator, this thing will stay on as long as people have the join spectator, and it'll cycle this clock as opposed to power things off, forcing us to need to power things off and power them back on. The clock is a necessary thing for sure. And again, we'll use the longer delay just so that things get handled at a better time. We're going to give them the handling first. And then we're going to remove all their effects in case they were coming in from Spectator, and we'll get rid of all their items too in case, you know, if they were coming in from Spectator. And of course we use these repeaters so that these command blocks fire off in the correct order. I'll just copy from here just because I'm lazy. You can see it's pretty easy just to straight up copy stuff around. You just have to know where your tags are that you need to change. So this one is effect clear, and this one is the clear items. And then, of course, we don't want this running at the same time as giving them the actual effects. So, what's the first one we want? We want them to be in adventure mode. Okay. Game mode. I'm putting them in adventure mode for now. When the game actually starts, you can have a ready up thing that will set them all to survival mode if you want to. This is just an easier thing so that they won't break too much stuff. I already took away their invisibility. They don't really need that. But I will give them back all their... Actually, we'll set them with the respawn stuff, I think. Yeah. We'll do that with the respawn stuff. So that when they die, every time they die, they will re-get their effects, which is more important because that is what we need to do when they die, to regain their effects. So we're not going to worry about that. We will worry about the spawn point. And we'll just set them at the lobby as well. Give them the absorption so that get picked up by the health tracking stuff. then teleport them away because that's important. Oh, and of course we need to make them join the red team. That's also important. Teleporting them away again, I mentioned, just so that people don't camp on top of the button and prevent other people from getting it. But yeah, force them to join the spectate team. Join team red. What was this one? Okay. And then once that is done, we will get rid of their join red command. And then get rid of their handling command in that order. Alright. Cool is cool. I will throw in the glowstone down here. Exactly where I want the stuff to be. And I'm not going to rebuild the blue one. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to hop into MC Edit, where we will simply copy and do a little copy pasta. So we'll take this, including the signs, like that. And we'll just grab all the things just in case. And this is basically, we're just going to have the same stuff again. So I'm just going to clone this straight up and push it over a couple blocks to where the blue stuff was. And we'll just clone that in. We'll change all the red wool into blue wool. I'll do a little swappity swap. Alright, and the other thing we'll do is we will use a filter here, find and replace filter, which you can get from SethBling's filter. And we're going to find all instances of red and change that to blue. That should be all we need to do. So save that, and then we will hop back into the game, and we can see that the things are in here, indeedly do. I didn't label this, did I? Oh, I'll label this one right now. And you can see this is now the signs themselves change as well as the code inside, which is exactly what we want, and that's perfect. So that is the lobby handling stuff. We're going to do the respawn handling stuff, and then we'll call it a day. The respawn handling things, we basically follow the spectator. It will find people with who are dead, or they just respawn basically. And basically where they get the respawn tag is from when their score dies. Whenever they go 0, they'll get the respawn tag. And in fact, we should probably add the respawn tag down here as well. Yes. So, well, copy it from this one here. Give them the respawn tag here as well, so they get their proper effects the first time around. The first time around. Oh, and we have to make sure that they have the tags as well. So I'll just grab this one from here. Just change that to that. Make sure everything's in the right. That's good. Okay. All right. So, we'll make sure that they are a person with respawn and their team happens to be red. And this is what will happen to them. We're going to see something a little bit different here coming around. I might have to cut out a little bit here just to make sure I get this right. Alright, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. I had to make sure that this behemoth was built correctly. So this is done a little bit differently than the spectator and the teamless thing. But just like the join lobby stuff, we're going to use the respawn tag to tag the player with the respawn just because we're too lazy to give them the effects there. I mean, we could just give them all the effects like mining fatigue and saturation and all that kind of stuff. But when they die, they need to get those effects again anyways. So this will do that for us. It's a respawn, and it will just tag them with respawn so we don't have to do all that stuff there. It's a little bit of a shortcut, I suppose. So this will test to see if a red player has a respawn. And it'll start the clock. It will give them the handling. And then it goes through a true false. This is a vertical little design by Traslander, and it works wonderfully. And it's great because you fit it along a line. And that way everything else can fit along a line, and you can put a lot of different things at different places to keep you organized a lot better. So what this tests for, it is a test for a game start score. It tests to see if anybody has a game start score. And if anybody has a game start score, then obviously the game has started. I'll cover that a little bit more when we talk about the Ready Up system the next episode, which should be a shorter episode than this one. But basically, I could use a binary for the game start. We'll talk about the binary wireless coding next time, but all the coding this time around for wireless stuff are using players. We're giving the players themselves these tags. We're tagging the players, and then those wireless redstone picks them up. But one of the reasons why I use the game start tag instead of using a binary is so that only players with the game start tag can do things in the game, meaning spectators without the game start tag can't do stuff. That's one way to prevent spectators from being able to affect certain things. And you basically flag the players, like these are the people who are actually playing the game. Everybody else cannot do that stuff. And I should call this like a flag or whatever, but I'm just going to call it a game start tag. And that's what I use in Adversity, so that spectators can't activate resource pads and that kind of stuff. Only the players themselves can. All right, so this is a true false. So I'll explain step by step how this thing works. So the power comes in here, and it checks to see if the game has started. It will also power this piston. The piston is important because this comparator will stay on forever if this fires off even once. But because it puts a block in between, the comparator will turn off when the piston retracts. And when this checks again, even though this is constantly giving a positive output, it'll cause the comparator to flash an output again, which is really important to make sure this one flashes every time this check runs through. And that's the only reason why we have this piston here. This top line here will get powered off, which means this torch will get powered on unless this returns a positive. So if this returns a positive, then this comparator will turn on, which will keep this torch off, which means this entire line will never fire if this returns a positive output. So that would be the true. This is the true. So this line going across here, this comparator, if it turns on, will power this block and power this redstone as well. So this is the true line. If the game has started, then all the stuff in the bottom will fire off. However, if this comparator doesn't turn on, then this means this torch will turn on, because this power line going up here will turn off, and this torch will turn on because this comparator didn't turn on. So this is our false. So this is our little true false check. Our true false check is, has the game started? If true, then run the bottom line. If false, then run this top line. It's a pretty powerful thing, and you can cascade this true-false test several times. So you can have true-false, like if true, for example, in diversity, I have test to see if somebody has won. Okay, good. Then test to see if one side has won versus the other side. Okay, good. Then test this, right? And it'll constantly do a cascading test to finite pick and pull out these little situations, like a little decision tree that it has, and it'll do different things. So let's go over the false line here. Whether it's true or false, it will clear items and affect clear on the respawning player. And then because the game has not started yet, it means they're in the lobby. It'll give them saturation weakness and mining fatigue, give them the absorption for the health tracking, and it'll reset their spawn point at the lobby. And then it'll remove the tags off them. If the game has started, again, it will remove items and clears. It will give them the absorption for the health tracker, and the spawn point thing is empty here because I haven't actually built anything. But if I had built anything, it will all set their respawn point at wherever they need to respawn. Alternatively, you could do a randomizer here to give them a random respawn point as well if you want to prevent something like spawn camping. I left a little bit of room here, so there's enough place to put 6 more command blocks over here, so you can give whatever effects or items. For example, in diversity, I always give respawning players night vision and a golden axe every time they respawn. In dementia, for example, when they come back from the respawn, they'll get food, a bow, and a wooden sword. And then we'll remove the tags afterwards. So that is our respawn, guys. Sorry this episode went a little bit long. Of course, I will add the glowstone, duplicate that for the blue team, and I will make this available for download for you guys to enjoy. Let's put a repeater here. And next time we will go through our ready up system, and we'll talk about that next episode. Hope you guys enjoy this. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to talk about, leave your notes in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get back to you guys. Otherwise, happy map making, guys. I hope to see more good stuff coming from y'all in the future. Thanks for watching. Take care now.